And as you stand nice and tall, wherever you're at on your mat, let's come to Tadasana feet. So traditionally the big toes are together and you spread your toes wide, your heels are slightly apart. If that doesn't feel good to you, then your toes are just a little bit apart. And your hands down at your sides. Take a deep full inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. We'll start traditionally to warm ourselves up. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale and fold forward. Bend your knees as much as you might like. On your next inhale, halfway lift, long spine. As you exhale, palm the mat, step back to the top of your push-up, plank pose. Just hold this first plank pose. Let's get things warmed up a little bit. Maybe spread your fingers super wide. Think about pushing back into your heels so your feet get a little bit of a stretch out. And now do the opposite. Come forward onto the balls of your feet or maybe onto your toes as you stretch out the wrists. Push back into the heels, forward onto the toes, back to the heels again, push back to the heels, drop the knees down to the ground and super slow, lower all the way down to the ground. Elbows working to graze your ribs on the way down. Nice job. Inhale as you open the chest into Cobra, straightening out. We're keeping the arms bent. And then let's exhale to Child's Pose. Hips towards the heels, opening the shoulders by keeping the elbows off the ground if it's available. Using your arms to help push your hips back towards your shoulders. Walk your hands over to the right, finding a side bend in your Child's Pose. We should be opening up the left ribs, left armpit here. Still pushing the left hip down towards the heel. Walk back through center and then take your side stretch the other direction. Walk it back to center and then come up onto your hands and knees. Tabletop position. Curl the toes, hover the knees off the ground for 3, 2, 1. Hips high, downward facing dog. Maybe you'd like to pedal out that down dog, moving knees back and forth or heels back and forth to the ground. And then when you're ready, come to stillness, both heels traveling toward the ground. Go ahead and look towards the top of the mat and walk your feet back up between your hands, back to those Tadasana feet. Once you get there, halfway lift up, pull the shoulder blades together. Exhale and fold again. Drop the hips generously. Let's round it up this first time. Rounding through the spine, and then as you come up to standing, reach the arms up overhead. Maybe your gaze follows as your hands come together. Back to heart center on the exhale. Next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale and fold forward. Knees can stay straight or bend. Inhale, half lift. Palm the mat, step back to the top of your push-up plank pose. Drop the right knee all the way down to the ground. Come into a side plank on the knee. So I just turn that foot out and then reach that top arm to the sky. Yeah. Now reach that arm towards me overhead like you're getting a nice big rainbow stretch. Perfect. Come back to your plank on your toes if that's available. And then drop the other knee down. Kick it out to the side and then open up into your side plank on your knee. Left side. Now that you've been here a moment, reach that hand overhead towards me, getting a big side stretch. Back to plank. On the toes or lower to the knees, lower all the way down to the ground. Elbows still trying to come in towards your ribs. Inhale as you open your chest into your cobra. Downward facing dog. If you need more movement in your down dog, take that here or come right to stillness. That's up to you. Think about creating a nice long spine, shoulder blades away from the ears, long neck. On your next inhale, look forward, walk your feet up to your hands, halfway lift up. Fold again. Again, let's drop the hips and round it up as we come up to standing. And then reach the arms up overhead, gaze shifting up. Exhale, fold right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Palm the mat, step it back to the top of your push-up. Hover your knees off the ground so you kind of end up in that tabletop with the knees hovered. A little long, challenging the core, right? Drop the right knee down to the ground. Come into your side plank on the right. Maybe that top leg is lifted. Hold it for another breath. Very nice. Come back to your plank pose. Legs off the ground, plank pose. Once again, we're gonna hover both knees, holding for 3, 2, 1. Drop the other knee, so that's the left knee for me. Side plank, maybe with the leg raised. Belly in, right? Energy out your foot, energy out that top hand. Back to plank. On the toes or on the knees, lower all the way down to the ground. Inhaling into your cobra. Maybe your gaze shifts up. Downward facing dog. From this down dog, let's reach the right leg high. 3-legged down dog. Just really reach those toes to the sky. Bend and stack that right knee. Open up to the side. On an exhale, hug that knee in towards your nose. Hug it in. Hug it in. Maybe it can touch even. And then reach it back up to 3-legged. Release your foot down. Downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side, reach it high. 3-legged. Really reach those toes. I'm kind of exaggerating it. Really reaching to the sky. And then bend and stack the top leg, opening up the left side. On an exhale, knee to nose, hug it in as tightly as you can. Inhale, reach it high. Back to downward facing dog, look to the top of the mat, walk, step, or if you would like, jump to the top of the mat. Halfway lift up. Exhale, fold. You can round it up or reverse your swan dive, lengthening the spine as you come up with a flat back, reach overhead, and then hands to heart center. A little bit warm, right? Take a breath. On your inhale, reach the arms up overhead, left leg coming into tree pose. You don't get your hands to help you, so it might be at the calf or just the toe touching. And that's because we're gonna open that leg out to the side like a star. Opposite knee to shoulder coming together. Balance and core. Open up like a star. Beautiful. Do it one more time. Bringing it together. Yes. Open like a star. And then come back to that tree. Whatever that tree is for you. Hands to heart center. Same leg. Reach it back behind you into warrior 3. Balance. Step back, high lunge. Soft landing if you can. Reach the arms overhead when you're ready. All right, take another breath. Reach the arms forward, forward, forward. Hands are gonna come down to the inside of the right leg. And then we're here in lizard. So I need to kind of move my foot back. That's okay. Get my stance just a little longer. Reach the chest forward towards knee. Long spine. Instead of here, we're here. Drop the back knee. Coming into side plank on the left with the knee down on the ground, right? So we gotta pick this leg up all the way from up front and bring it behind us, maybe not touching. Knee to elbow twice. Reach it out, bring it back, reach it out. And now our challenge is to get that foot all the way back up to the top of the mat. Maybe you help it along with your hand or maybe not. Hands inside the leg again. Good, good. Come back up onto your back foot and then ground the heel as you come up and windmill around into warrior 2. There you go, there you go, there you go. turn towards the top of the mat. We're gonna step forward and land in chair. Big step, chair. Right, feet are together, knees are together. If the feet are apart, the knees are a little bit apart. Traditionally, we're looking forward or maybe even a little bit up. Now let's sink another inch. And let's balance by coming up onto our toes. Very nice, very nice. Ground those heels, hands to heart center. Let's stand up straight, other side. Right? Okay, so it's the right side is coming into tree. Oh, you need another breath? Take another breath. Inhale. And exhale. I don't know which side's coming in tree. Which side's coming in tree, Betsy? Right side. Okay, I was correct. All right, reach those arms up overhead. Come into your tree foot on that other side. And then open it up like a star. Opposite knee and elbow. All right, one more time. Come back to that tree with the leg first, hands to heart center, and then sweep that leg behind you for warrior three. Soft landing to the back of the mat for your high lunge. Very nice. Very nice. Reach the arms forward, 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 forward to bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. And then if you need to wiggle that right foot back and gain some length, do that. Before you put your knee down, let's lengthen the spine. Find that engagement. Now let's go ahead and drop that right knee and come into your side plank on the knee, on the right. Big pickup to that leg, reach and open, keeping the leg off the ground if it's available. 2 times knee to elbow. Yep. Balancing and core. Let's see if you can bring that foot all the way back up to the top of the mat, maybe with no hand, maybe with a hand. Both hands end up inside the front foot. Very good. Curl the back toe to bring the knee off the ground, plant the heel on the ground and windle it up. Warrior two. We're stepping forward to chair from here. We're just going to turn it around. Maybe it's a big step, maybe it's a couple steps. No big deal either way. We end up in chair, top of the mat. Very nice. Let's add skiing arms when we come up onto our toes. Like you're going to take off. Release the heels, come back up to standing, reach the arms up overhead, and then hands to heart center. Good work. All right, reach the arms overhead, maybe add a tiny back bend. Exhale and fold forward. Halfway lift up. Palm the mat, step back to the top of your push-up. From here, you could go straight to downward facing dog, or you could take this vinyasa where you lower, open, and then make your way to down dog. All right, if you were at class on Tuesday, you're gonna know this move. If you weren't at class, you can just look around a little bit. Inhale as you reach the right leg to the sky, bend and stack. We're gonna come into wild thing, so we'll take that top foot to the outside of our other foot. I turn that standing foot and then come into wild thing here, leaving the left leg straight and opening up the heart. I want you to sit your bum down on the ground. I know you're facing away from me, but somebody up there at the front has done this already, so watch them. Hug your right knee into your chest. You can use your arms in any way you like, and then sit back so that your right foot comes off the ground. Find your balance. Maybe you can reach the left leg off the ground, keeping it straight. Sort of like a boat pose, yeah? Very good. Come out the same way we came in. Drop the straight leg. Drop the bent foot. Windmill the arms toward the straight leg so you can turn around and then come up to your three-legged down dog, reaching the leg open. Hug the knee in towards the nose. Reach it high, three-legged. Step part way up on your mat. So about midway, ground the back heel, and then let this front knee stay bent as you round it up to standing. We're setting up for pyramid. So I like pyramid heel to heel stack, but a lot of people like that like they're on railroad tracks, right? With one foot over compared to the other one, right? Because we're working to square our hips towards that straight leg. Let's all keep our hands on our hips for this first one. Open up the chest. On an exhale, hinge forward. Softness in this front knee, and in fact, it can bend quite a bit if you need to. And then when you're able, place your hands on the ground. Some of us will work on getting our forehead down to our shin. Many of us are working on our ribs, trying to connect to our thigh. Think about squaring your hips, which is sort of hard to do here, right? We'll look forward enough that we can walk our hands forward about 6 inches or so, and then come into standing splits. I like my hands really grounded for standing splits as I reach that top leg to the sky. And then I want to become really light, because we're working a lot on balance, really light in our hands. So maybe you come onto your fingertips, maybe all of them, maybe 3 of them, maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe none. And then ground your hands. Step back with the left leg, step forward with the hands, and then come back to plank. Right leg just reaches back. All right, you know what's about to happen. Vinyasa or not to down dog. Maybe you didn't know that was about to happen. I knew it was about to happen. All right, here we go, back to down dog. So we're doing this on the other side. Left leg is high, 3-legged. Bend and stack to open up. And this is where we can come into our wild thing, bringing the left foot behind us. I'm working to keep that right leg pretty much straight, but I do turn the foot and open into that back bend. Very, very, very nice, everybody. Bring your hips down to the ground. I know you're facing away, but that's okay. Just listen up. Hug the left knee. Pause here. Just lean back so the left foot is off the ground. Spine is working to be pretty straight. And then how much more do you need to lean back in order to raise that right leg up in the air? Nice job, everyone. Come out as you came in. First, the straight leg, then the bent foot. Windmill toward the straight side so that you can reach that left leg high to the sky in your 3-legged. Yes, it's like a graceful move. I know you did graceful no matter what it was. Exhale, knee to nose. Hug it in. Inhale, reach it high. Step part way up on your mat. This is that short stance we're looking for. Back heel comes down, that back foot is turned out, and then round it up with the knee bent. This is where you regroup, right? Figure out where you want your feet to be, and then square your hips towards me, towards the top of your mat. Open up the chest, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. So I have the hamstring length to keep this front leg super straight. If you need to bend it a bit, that's fine too. It's all about where your range is. Take a couple of breaths here. Think about squaring the hips. So for me, my right hip wants to really jut out to the side, giving me a little more space. I'm going to bring it back in line. And then on your next inhale, begin to look forward. Walk your hands about 6 inches forward or so, and then reach that right leg to the sky so that we're in our standing split. And here's where we can start to work on balancing this split, maybe coming up onto all fingertips. 3, 2, 1, none, you decide. You decide, you decide. And then we must ground ourselves, bringing the foot back down to the ground, bringing the hands forward, step back to plank. Everyone drop your knees down to the ground and push back into child's pose. Allow yourself a few breaths here in child's pose. Allow yourself to rest and regroup. On your next inhale, come to tabletop. That's on the hands and knees. Really flat spine, pull the belly up and in. We're going to practice some bird dog action here, and that's reaching the right arm forward and the left leg back. Listen up, we're gonna go through a series of movements here. Elbow to knee, hug it in. Reach it out long. Reach behind you to find your foot. We're just tapping / holding for a moment. Reach it long. Hide, what do I call this? Hide something. Take that arm and leg out to the side. So, like this. Hydrant, yeah, fire hydrant. There you go, like you're a dog. Back to long. One more time through all of it. Elbow to knee. Lengthen out. Reach for the back foot. Lengthen out. Hydrant the legs out to the side, the arm out to the side. Lengthen back out and back to tabletop. Ooh, maybe you'd like to sit back and get off those wrists for a moment. Wiggle them out. You like that, Betsy? There's more. Challenge. There's more coming. It's a challenge. Okay, back to our tabletop for the other side. Strong core, that's what we're working on here. Left leg, no, left arm, right leg. Y'all don't let me mess that up. Elbow to knee, reach out. Reach for the foot, reach out. Hydrant out to the side, reach out. Knee and elbow, lengthen out. Reach for your foot, lengthen out. Hydrant, lengthen out, and then drop to tabletop, and one more time into child's pose. Stay in child's pose if this is where you need to be. Or an alternative is to reach forward and come into puppy. Puppy really opens the shoulders and the upper back. I just like to kind of walk my fingers forward so that my chest is coming toward the ground. It might be forehead, chin, cheek, chest. It really depends on your range. Your hips are high in the air. Don't worry, nobody's behind us. Right, I know you're thinking that, so don't worry. Good, I like to see everybody doing what suits their body today. If you have been out in your puppy pose, let's kind of wiggle your way back towards child's pose. And then onto your hands and knees, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Let's really play with using our core and compression to come to the top of the mat. So what I want you to do is exaggerate your step forward, like you're stepping over something. A pile of Legos on the ground, really pull that leg up towards your ribs as you step forward, and do it again and again and again, no matter how much you bend your knees, because you don't want to step on whatever it is as you come to the top of the mat. Bend the hips generously and then round it up, come up to standing. Right. There's always a way to work hard in yoga. Take a deep inhale and exhale. We're working on that same balancing sequence in standing that we did last time. No big surprise. Reach the arms up overhead. The left leg goes first, and that's because our right leg will be forward and I'll be maybe less confused. Tree pose with the left leg. Star. Elbow and knee opposite. Open. Yeah, nice and slow like that. Opposite. Open. Warrior 3 after tree. So I like hands at heart center just to take that out. But you could certainly do something else. We're reaching back to find that warrior 3. And then a nice soft, soft, soft landing back of the mat into your high lunge. Reach the arms overhead when you're ready. Reach forward, forward, forward as we come into our lizard posture. That's hands inside the foot. First, lengthen the spine, and then I'm really wiggling my foot forward because I want a longer stance here. You can drop the left leg or knee, or you can stay on the foot as you come into your side plank on the left, right? So if you drop, it looks like this. If you don't drop, it looks like this. You're coming onto the outside edge of your foot. A little more wobbly for me, right? I'm gonna turn around and see y'all. Beautiful job. Beautiful job, hold it. Now bring it back up there. See if you can bring it all the way to the top. Hands are inside your foot. Here's your next balance challenge. We're gonna bring the back knee off the ground and walk the right hand underneath your thigh. This might be enough of a balance challenge, or maybe you're gonna reach out with your right hand, out with your left hand like you're flying, balancing on your foot and your foot, right? There's even a bind here if you reach behind you and hold on behind you. Some of us are gonna be ready to get out of that. I'm gonna ground my hands first on the inside of my right foot and then my back heel down and windmill it up to warrior two. Ah, thank goodness we're out of that, right? Warrior two. Very long. I'll bring it forward. Here. Half squat to the back of the mat. Half, not all the way to Skandasana. Half. Maybe your elbow rests on your thigh. Your hips are sitting back. So I often pull my toes up. You can do either one, down or up. Maybe you can come up onto your toes on the left side. Ay, 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 right? Back to your warrior two, top of the mat. Ground that heel, open it up, turn the feet like you need to back to your warrior two. We're stepping to chair. We did this last time. We're doing it again. Step into your chair. Come up on your toes. This round with arms high, but maybe we'll sink the hips and we'll sink the hips and we'll sink the hips and we'll keep going until the hips come down to the heels. Guys, we got to get up from here. Anything you want to do with your arms, including a little momentum, is fine. We're coming back up. And once we hit that chair, we're grounding the heels, hands to heart center. Oh, that's right. Omari is like, what? She is getting squirrely today. Okay, we got another side to do. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, maybe you shake it out. So that's the right leg. Yes, right leg. Arms reach up. Right leg is coming into your tree, no hands, so no hands. Open it into your star. Knee and elbow across the body. Slow and controlled. Open. Cross. Open. It's warrior three we're headed to. So maybe hands at heart center. Sweep it back. Reach back and step back. High lunge. Arms overhead when you're ready. Thunderbolt forward. Reach, 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 reach. Hands to the inside of your foot. And then for me, that's just not quite long enough, so I like to bring my front toes forward so that I can sink down. Side plank on the right, drop the knee, or keep the knee up and you come onto the side of your foot and you're working to bring that leg back in one big movement, maybe keeping it off the ground, maybe stacking. You get to decide. We're holding this round. If I look forward, I'm gonna fall. Now can you step all the way to the top of the mat? Maybe you need your hands to help you, maybe you don't. Hands inside. More balance act, here we go. If your knee's on the ground, you're gonna need it off the ground to walk that left hand inside and under your front foot, right? This might be it. Maybe you're tenting the fingers, maybe you're starting to fly the arms, and maybe you'll reach behind you for a bind. I'm coming out so I can watch y'all. Yes, 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 very good. When you are ready, unbind, unwind. I'm gonna bring my hands to the ground for support, drop that back heel, windmill it up, warrior two. Half squat to the back of the mat. We turn it around, we squat to the back. Maybe you come up on your toes back there. Whew. Ground that heel, bring it back up to your warrior two, top of the mat. Step forward into your chair. One big movement or a bunch of movements, right? Whatever happens. Skiing arms this time, or hands to heart center, come up on your toes. We're gonna come all the way down on our heels, but then we're gonna have a seat from there, so don't come back up. If you need to ground your heels instead, or ground your hands for balance and support, then do that. Before we have a seat on the ground, hands at heart center. We're just still gonna balance on no toes. Toes, twist to the right, hooking the elbow. Maybe your gaze can shift, maybe not, right? That'll change your balance. Come back to center and try that on the other side. Come back to center. I'm gonna come to seated by opening my legs, giving myself some space. Still a balance here, right? And then having a seat. Hands or no hands, that's optional. My feet need a wiggle out after that. How do you guys like core and balance? All right, take a breath. We're right here, right? We're right here for boat. You knew this was coming. Here we are in our boat pose. All right, think about your shins being parallel to the ground. Press your ankles together, press your knees together. That right there creates a lot of activation. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your feet down, give yourself a nice hug. Coming back. You can come back to that exact same thing, right? Y'all had your feet or your shins just about parallel. We're thinking about squeezing ankles and knees together. Or you can straighten the legs out all the way or part way, right? We're still trying to have chest high. Either one is totally fine. 4, 3, I see this length back there. 2, 1, come on down. Nice. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. Always your option whether your legs are straight or bent. We're gonna add a twist. Here we go. We're headed into boat. Bring your hands together, whether you're straight or bent. Take your hands over to the side. You could be right here, with the feet on the ground. Yeah, it's still working hard, right? Did y'all go to the other side? Well, I guess we will. I don't know. I don't know what y'all did. But I think we've held something long enough. Let's come out of that. Woo. Right? All right, let's lie all the way down on the ground. Get there slowly. Take a long body stretch once you do. Place your right fingertips behind your head, maybe your whole palm, whatever feels right for you. I call these jackknives. It's taking the opposite hand to foot, and we'll start with the right foot, left hand, where we're coming up, maybe something touching, and then back down. Maybe you hover or come all the way down. That's up to you. Up and down, back and forth. We're just gonna go for, I don't know, 15-ish. It doesn't matter how many we get to though, because we're just gonna work nice and slow. We're working to get our shoulder blades off the ground when we come up, or at least the left one. Let's do 3 more. Long body stretch. When we come out of that, a nice long body stretch. Left hand or fingertips behind the head. Right hand and foot meet. Let's go. Jackknifing the other way. Three more. Long body stretch when you're finished. We'll do one more core work while we're down here. I like to have my arms out like a T. You could have your palms down towards the ground if you like. And then go ahead and bend your knees. There's lots of different ranges you can do this in. We're taking the knees over one side or the other. You can keep your feet on the ground as you take your knees over, back and forth to one side. You can keep your knees bent, but your feet off the ground as you go back and forth. It's just a hover. We don't touch on each side. Or you can keep your legs straight in the air and go back and forth. Right? Chances are if your legs are straight, you cannot do as many because you can't move that fast with that long of a lever, but that's okay. We're all gonna just do whatever's right for our practice right now. We're not competing with our neighbor. Really think about your core muscles working here. Just kind of tap into what they feel like, how hard they're working. Can you ask them to really control this movement? And then wherever you're at, even it out. So if you need to do one more on one side or the other, take that and then perhaps hug both of your knees into your chest. When you're ready, you can rock and roll to come forward to seated. Make the adjustments you need wherever you're at on your mat so you can come over your legs onto your hands and knees. In your tabletop, we got another round of that bird dog work we did last time. We're gonna add a few pulses. So find that core strength, find your balance as you reach the right arm, left leg out. Pulse up twice, pulse up, up. Knee together and elbow together. Reach out and pulse up twice. 1, 2, reach back to find your foot. Lengthen out, 2 pulses. Leg and arm out to the side, hydrant. Back to center, 2 pulses. Knee and elbow together, this is the last round. Come out, 2 pulses. Find your foot. Reach out, 2 pulses. Hydrant out to the side. Reach out, 2 pulses. And then we're done. Place that knee and hand on the ground. Wiggle it out, maybe with some cat-cow. Maybe you'd like to come onto your forearms for a moment before we take it to the other side. Mini bikers. Okay, other side as we are ready. Left arm, right leg. Give me my 2 pulses here. 1, 2, elbow, knee. Reach out, pulse. 2, find the foot. Reach out, pulse. 1, 2, hydrant. Reach out, pulse. 1, 2, elbow, knee. Reach out, pulse. Find the foot. Reach out, pulse. Hydrant. Reach out, last pulse. And then release. And let's push back to child's pose because that's a fair amount of back bending when we add those pulses and moves there. Open up your low back. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then as you're ready, begin to make your way to downward facing dog. We are going to flow once more on each side from our down dog. Bring the right leg high, 3-legged, bend and stack. When you come into your wild thing from here, if you have the ability, pause in your side plank, right? So that's just you're on one arm, one foot, you're pausing, 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 and then slowly come in to your wild thing. Open up the spine, release both hips down to the ground. We're having a seat. Hug your right knee. If you know the Ashtanga bind, you could take that. The rest of us are gonna hug the knee, sit back, find balance, lift the left leg up. Listen up, whether you are bound or not bound, you can open up your arms so everything is off with no bind if you'd like, right? Everything is off the ground. Unwind to come back to your three-legged down dog. Reach the right leg high. Hug your knee in towards your nose. Reach it high again. Step part way up on your mat for your pyramid pose. So back heels down. We're gonna round it up as we come up to standing. We got some pyramid balance that we're gonna head into for this round. Hands to your hips, open the chest.
I want it.
Exhale, hinge forward. Hands can come to the ground wherever you like. All right, so this is kind of a traditional hands to the ground pyramid. If you would like to play around with balance, you're gonna reach your fingertips behind you so that your fingers are facing away. I like to come up onto my fingertips and my thumb. Shift your weight towards that straight front leg and then tuck your left knee in. So you're kind of balanced here like so. You release that foot down to the ground. Bring the hands in front of you. Find your standing splits balance. Playing around with how little you have your hands on the ground, maybe where you like to bind them. I like to do reverse prayer. That's behind that right calf. And then I'm going to reach my hands towards the top of the mat, step back to plank, and take your vinyasa or no vinyasa to downward facing dog. What time do y'all meet here?
10:30.
Okay, we'll be finishing at 10:30. All right, left leg high, three-legged. Bend and stack. Okay, on your way to wild thing, you're trying to sort of pause in that side plank. Some of you pause a long time, some of us it'll slow us down, right? And then once you find your wild thing, open up that back bend. Very nice. Bring your hips down to the ground. Hug the left knee. Or you find that Ashtanga bind if you know it. We're not going through that in today's class. And then sit backwards to find yourself hovering the leg off the ground. An additional challenge is if you release the knee but keep it bent and you're opening your arms or letting them hover too. Unwind out of that back to your three-legged down dog. Our left leg is in the air. Yep. Knee to nose, hug it up. Reach it high, three-legged. Step halfway up on the mat and coming into pyramid, so back heel down, round it up when you come up to standing. Maybe you like to reach up and then hands eventually to the hips. Square the hips, lengthen the spine, fold over. And this is where you begin to have options in this pyramid. So if you're finding that balance onto the front leg, I'm really reaching my hands quite far behind me and my fingertips are reaching back towards that back foot and then bending that back heel and that back knee in towards my bum. Yeah. I see you all doing it. Release your foot down. Hands come in front of that left foot and then come into your standing splits and play around with your standing balance there. Yes, you guys are doing so good. It's hard, isn't it? Hands come forward, leg comes back. We're back into plank. Last vinyasa, if you choose to take it. To down dog. And remember how we came to the top of the mat like we're gonna avoid stepping on something, I want you to do that. It's exaggerated steps so that you're really pulling your hip up, engaging your core as you come to the top of the mat. You could take as many steps as you like to do that. And then once you're there, let's round it up so you can come up to standing. Good news, we have enough time to go through our standing balance once more on each side. Everybody smiled, so it must actually indeed be good news. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. No big surprises here. We're coming up, left leg first. That's because I want the right leg forward, just so I know what's happening. Maybe. Come into your star. Across the body. Once and twice. And warrior 3. And step back gently to find that lunge. Maybe reach the arms up first. Work to get there, thunderbolt forward. All right, before we find that funny little balance, with our hands on the ground, let's bring our toes, or come up onto our toe in the front, heel off the ground. You know where I'm going with this, right? When you get into that funny balance, you could play with that. Everybody ground the heel and first walk your hand under and out, then maybe you find your balance, maybe you find your bind, maybe you come up onto your toes. Lots of maybes there. Maybe you keep your hands right on the inside of that front leg and drop the back knee so you can just stretch. And watch your fellow yogis find their balance. We're gonna unwind out of this to warrior 2 whenever we're ready. Whenever we are ready. Do we have our right leg forward? Have I got it right? Excellent. Half squat to the back. Turn the feet mindfully. Bring that back heel off the ground. Very good. How long should we hold this? Just another breath, I'd say, right? Back to warrior 2. We're almost there, we're almost there. Step to the top, find your chair. Keep the right foot on the ground. Hands can stay overhead or heart center, and pick that left foot up. One-legged chair. For 3, 2, done. Come back up to standing. I mean, I said I was keeping it the same, but surely you didn't believe that. Okay. One more time, one more side, okay? Reach the arms up. The other leg is coming into that tree pose. And then opening into your star. Cross twice. It's warrior 3 after that. Stepping it back. Find your high lunge. Hands to the inside. Find the stance you like. Before you find your balance, come up onto the toes on the left side. Ground the heel first. If you're finding that balance in your bind, then you can play around with your toes. If you're not doing that, that's okay too. You might drop the back the back knee, and stretch. Or come out and find that stretch whenever you want. Out to warrior 2 when you're ready to unwind. We'll all get there in our own time, right? Half lunge to the back. Come up on your toes. Warrior 2 to the top. Turn it into your chair as you step forward. Find chair first. Left foot staying on the ground. Keep the knees together if you can, and pick up the right foot. 3, 2, and we're going to take about 5 minutes to stretch, and then we can head into Shavasana. Betsy's like, how much time is left? All right. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. I hope you didn't think we were going to get there easy though. Sink down into your chair and then keep going. Maybe on your toes. Well, you'll have to come to your toes eventually, unless you have some seriously flexible heels. Maybe take your twist. Maybe find that the other way. Maybe when you come back to center, you play around with finding your balance with the feet out. I've brought my hands to the ground so I can really experiment with bringing my heels together and my knees out. Some of you are already coming on and finding your balance, right? Everybody's like, well, I hope I don't fall. Don't fall. Bring your hands to the ground so you can have a seat. Bring your legs out wide. We're gonna stretch hamstrings and hips here. Take a nice tall spine. And then fold straight forward. Any placement you like. Azita's like, this is not my favorite. Yeah, ladies, give each other a helping hand over there. I like it. When you're finished, come on up. Towards the right, square the chest. We're folding over that right leg, hands anywhere you like, wherever your range allows you to be. Make your way up and to the other side. I like to think about squaring my ribs, my shoulders a bit towards that straight leg. As you're ready, make your way upright. Let's bring the legs back together. Turn around so you can lie down properly on your mat. Okay, yes, we can eke out just a tiny bit more core on our way down. You're right, good idea. Let's hollow out the belly and make a slow, slow, slow landing all the way down. All right, you guys keep going. I'm gonna stay up because I wanna see you all, but that's what we're doing. We're headed all the way down. Once you get there, take a nice long body stretch. And then hug the right knee in towards your chest. Get some nice compression there. Release the leg and hug the other knee into your chest when you're ready. Release the leg, and when you're ready, hug both knees into your chest. Maybe rock side to side a little bit. Take your knees over to the right, allow them to come down to the ground so you can come into a spinal twist for a few breaths. Actually, why don't you just stay as long as you would like, and then take yourself the other direction when you are ready. And after your spinal twist each side, in your own time, come into your Shavasana.